If you're grieving the death of a loved one, then nobody can truly understand your loss. So please release all guilt or shame if anyone should tell you to just get over it already, or if you feel like you've been grieving too much or for too long. Because the truth is that everybody grieves differently, and each loss is grieved in its own unique way. But your pain right now is their legacy to you. It shows that love is not lost even in death. Your love continues. And your pain shows how deeply you have loved, possibly deeper than you thought you were capable of. And although grief might return again and again in cycles, and it might plunge you into sadness, relief is possible in time. In time, you can be happy again. In time, grief can turn into acceptance. And grief can turn into a greater love for those who are still with us, those who need us. And in this way, the loved one you've lost can be a part of that greater love that you'll have for others moving forward. And it might help you to accept your situation if instead of focusing on your own loss, you focus on their gain. Because their spirit is no longer subject to the vulnerabilities of a physical human body. No water can drown them. No fire can burn them. They are free of disease and physical ailments. And they may be reunited with their deceased loved ones. They could be in good company right now. It may also help you if instead of focusing your love on the body of the person, you focus on loving the indwelling spirit of the person. Spiritual teacher Paramahansa Yogananda said that those who love the body as the true self will be unduly grieved because the body must perish. But those who love the indwelling spirit will find lasting joy because the soul is immortal. Death cannot touch it. He also says that each life that has come to an end represents a link in an eternal chain that we have with our loved ones. Because you can have many different types of relationships with the same spirit. You can have a human-to-human relationship, but you can also have a human-to-spirit relationship or a spirit-to-spirit relationship. They still exist. Your relationships don't end, they just change form. Science even tells us this. The first law of thermodynamics is that something cannot become nothing. Energy has to change form. It cannot be destroyed. Thich Nhat Hanh has a beautiful story to describe this. He calls it, "A cloud never dies." And as he describes it, a cloud may dissipate into rain and fall to the ground. But then that rainwater gets absorbed into the ground and becomes part of a tree. And eventually that tree is harvested to create paper. And in this way, we could say that a cloud is in this paper, or any paper you have around you. But the water from the cloud may also get absorbed into a cotton plant. And in this way, you could say that there is a cloud in your socks right now. Clouds are mostly comprised of water. But guess what the human body is mostly comprised of? Water. So in this way, is it possible that we just keep transitioning and becoming parts of different things? What do you think? They are a part of you. You can find their voice in your thoughts and in your words. See if you can detect it. It's recorded inside of you. The advice, the attributes, the humor. It's recorded inside of other people who knew them. They have become a part of all of you. Take a look at your face in the mirror and see if you can see their face in your face. You can place your hands over your heart and feel their hands over your heart comforting you. Just as electricity still exists when a light bulb is turned off, their spirit still exists when the physical living body is turned off. We know that there's radio waves all around us, even though we can't detect it. We know that there's television signals with images and voices of people and personalities, even though we can't detect it. And in the same way, your departed loved ones can be closer than you think, even though you might not be able to detect them. But you can speak to them inside, and you can send them love. And if you're perceptive enough, you might feel their love being transmitted back to you. And they may connect with you in your dreams at night. Their spirit may connect with you in unusual coincidences that show up in your life. It could be an unusual coincidence in nature, perhaps something that happens at home, or something that somebody says to you that sparks something meaningful inside. And know that their death moves you forward. Because death reminds us of our own limited mortality, so that we can prioritize the most meaningful way to spend the time that we have left. Their death also reminds us that this isn't our true home. We checked in here, put on our flesh suit bodies, took on our assumed identities, and pretended like this is real. But death reminds us that we will have to check out and return to our true home. Just as the waves eventually return back into the ocean. And their death might inspire you to connect and communicate again with God or whatever you think created you. Because the way I see it, there is an intelligent force that designed and gave form to every single person you love and care about. There is a force that kept them breathing at night so they didn't die, This force assimilated their nutrients to the different body parts that needed it. This force dispatched their immune system with great skill to protect them from foreign invaders. This intelligent force designed and sustained your loved ones so that you could have those relationships in your life. This Creator was loving you through your loved ones. And in the same way, this Creator gave form to you and is sustaining you. This eternal friend has not lost sight of you. We might lose sight of our loved ones as they transition, but there is an eternal friend that never loses sight of you. So if it's been a while, perhaps you can use this as an opportunity to communicate and connect again. And you can ask God, the Creator, to reveal their ways to you so that you can have greater wisdom and understanding and acceptance for those things that seem difficult to handle. But you may have to ask and ask and ask time and time again to show your sincerity. And I believe that if you do this, eventually you will get the answers. It'll probably show up in the form of a coincidence. But what are coincidences really?